Yo, what is up, guys? Del Boy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully, you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, and all of that good stuff. So, Joshua Buatsi defeats Marco Calic by a 7th round knockout, or should I say, the corner threw in the towel. Now, this fight was a lot tougher than I expected for Joshua Buatsi. You know, he really had his hands full in this fight, and in my opinion, he passed a bit of a gut check because Buatsi was getting caught regularly in this fight and his left eye sustained some really bad damage. His left eye was almost completely closed. So listen, a lot of flaws in this display from Joshua Buatsi, but he did pass his gut check. In this fight, Marco Calic started out behind his jab. Obviously, he was the taller, rangier fighter, and that's how he played this fight. Boxing behind the jab and looking for that straight right hand behind it. In my opinion, the mistake Buatsi was making in this fight, he was waiting far too often in this fight. He was just sitting on the outside waiting, not really doing much at times. And when that was happening, Calic was just boxing behind the jab and throwing that straight right hand. And he was catching Buatsi. Buatsi's defense in this fight was really leaky. Traditionally, Buatsi kind of uses like a high guard, I guess. And that high guard was getting penetrated by the straight punches. And also, as this fight wore on, Buatsi's left hand began to drop, and that made the straight right hand for Calic even easier to land. On the outside, Buatsi was having real problems with Calic. Buatsi was still landing some nice solid jabs on the outside, but really, in regards to the outside battle, Calic, in my opinion, was having more of the success. When Buatsi was coming forwards and when he was up close, he was landing some good body shots, and the strength of Buatsi was definitely giving Calic problems. Buatsi was definitely the stronger man in there, and when they was up close, you could really see that. So basically, Buatsi in this fight, he kind of had to abandon his boxing and get a little bit grimy, a little bit rough, and that's what he did. And to his credit, he got the victory. He certainly passed a gut check in this fight. The first 5 rounds were very competitive in regards to the scores, in my opinion. Maybe 2 rounds to 3 either way, in that sort of ballpark. But I felt after round 5, and I said this on Twitter, I felt that it looked like Buatsi was slowly starting to break Calic down. I felt he was starting to feel some of those body shots. I think it was towards the end of round 5. Calic was hurt with a headshot. And yeah, basically end of round 5 onwards, it looked like Calic was slowing down. And in round 7, Buatsi dropped Calic with, I believe, a right hand. Pretty hard shot. Calic does beat the count, but basically Buatsi jumps right back on him, lands a nice combination, and weirdly, Calic's corner throws in the towel. But Calic didn't really complain, so it is what it is. But it looked like he could fight on, to be honest. So yeah, I guess his corner saw something that we didn't. So whatever, it is what it is. But Buatsi gets the stoppage victory. He forces the opposition to throw in the towel, and it is what it is, man. The positives are, Buatsi went 7 hard rounds. He passed a gut check. He actually dealt with some adversity, which is good. But defensively, Buatsi showed a lot of flaws in this fight. I've always felt that Buatsi's defense is his weakest attribute, to be honest. I've always kind of felt, and I've said this a few times, if you punch with Buatsi, then he is definitely open for counter shots. But in this fight, it wasn't necessarily that Calic was punching with him. He was just boxing on the outside, keeping straight punches. And Buatsi really did a poor job of evading these shots. He was very upright. There was no head movement. His guard was very porous. And yeah, it was getting penetrated by the straight punches of Marco Calic. So Buatsi definitely needs to tighten up his defense, as far as I'm concerned, because if Marco Calic could punch, I think Buatsi would have been in a lot of trouble tonight. I think he's very fortunate that Marco Calic couldn't punch. And also in this fight, I noticed that his distance control and his judgment of distance was really poor. At times he thought he was out of range and he would get picked off by the jab and the straight right hand. Just defensively all around, Buatsi was really, really open in this fight, and that is definitely worrying going forwards. And, based on this performance, while he can definitely learn from this, and while the hard rounds could be a benefit, I think how they move this guy definitely needs to be reconsidered. They're talking about really stepping this guy up next. I think he actually needs a couple more fights at this level, to be honest. And listen, based on what I saw tonight, I wouldn't be surprised if what I was told is true in regards to Callum Johnson versus Joshua Buatsi. I was told by someone very close to the scene that Team Buatsi want no parts of Callum Johnson. Now, how reliable that source is, I'm not entirely sure. But, I trust the guy. And, like I said, based on what I saw, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. Because, listen, if Buatsi is going to get hit that much, then fighting a massive puncher like Callum Johnson would be a massive, massive risk. So, yeah, maybe they need to, hold back on how they move Buatsi, have a couple of more fights at this level, and then reassess. Because based on that performance, he's got a long way to go before he reaches world level. One thing to consider, Buatsi has been out of a ring for more than a year. Maybe that played a part. It's possible, but, definite improvements needed from Joshua Buatsi. But it was a really good fight, surprisingly a really good fight while it lasted. Calic came to fight, he had success, but eventually Buatsi grounded him down and he got the stoppage win. He showed some good heart in this fight, some guts, and he passed, a gut check. So that's a positive. I can't be all negative in regards to his performance. But yeah, share your thoughts below. What did you make of Buatsi's performance? Peace.